Hey everyone, I'm Moose with Airguns of Michigan, and welcome to part 2 on our intro to PCP 101. I'm kind of putting this video series together because I get all these crazy questions. I get people that, are just confused and lost, and I understand. I really, truly do, because even when I got into PCPs, I had 1,000 questions, and it seemed like it was really difficult to just find a good answer, an easy answer, And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I have a really good understanding of what we're doing, and I think we can get you on the right path for sure. So one thing I really, really, really want to point out, and I really want to drive home with everybody here, and it happens on a daily basis. It happened again tonight, just before I decided to start filming this video. Somebody will ask a question. And tonight, the question was, what compressor can I get to fill up my 74 cubic foot air tank? So obviously this guy has a 74 cubic foot air tank, as do I. And he probably has been running up to his local paintball store or, his fire department or whomever can fill it up. And now he wants to be able to do it on his own. The very first answer in the comments was, try a GX pump. Number one, a GX compressor is portable. Number two, GX compressors would struggle to fill up the majority of large airgun cylinders, let alone trying to fill up a 74 cubic foot bottle. The next answer was, get a young hang. A young hang's what I use. So mine, I happen to be the third comment, and I said, GX, no way. Young hang all the way. The next response was a response to mine that said, oh, I thought I read. And the response was from the same guy who recommended the GX. So number one, the person doesn't even own a GX. Number two, they don't really know exactly what's going on. So if that paints a picture for you as far as going out onto Facebook forums and waiting to see if you get the right answer, is not the way to go about this. And it's unfortunate, because there are some very educated people in those same groups who will give the right answer, and they do often. But the unfortunate part is that you don't know who to believe. So this is what I say to people, and this is how I learned, and this is what I did to get involved. YouTube, you're already here. You're already watching YouTube videos on this. Do a search. Do a Google search or a YouTube search for compressor to fill 74 cubic foot air tank. And my guess is you're going to come across a whole gambit of people who are going to physically show a compressor that they bought filling a 74 cubic foot tank. That's the way to learn. Not asking random questions in some of these groups, hoping that you're going to get somewhat of a correct answer. I've said it before. A lot of times I think people just answer questions because they want to be heard. They want to feel important. They want to be part of the community. And they just spew things that aren't necessarily true. And I really don't think those people do it generally to be malicious. But the issue is that if no one would have checked that GX compressor, and that dude would have went out and bought that GX compressor, he would have found in real short order that compressor is nowhere near capable of filling up his 74 cubic foot tank. So my thing is, if you want to learn about stuff, YouTube it. Watch everything that you can. Learn. Take some time. Don't make quick decisions based off of what really anybody says. I mean, I can tell you what works for me, but somebody else might have another opinion on it, and it might be better for you. All right? So, with that out of the way, the next point that I want to talk about is know what you want so that you don't get stuck with something you don't want. Okay? And when we talk about that, what I mean is this. I see it all the time. People ask questions like, "Hey, I've got $200. What's the best gun that I can buy for $200?" Okay? Well, there's a lot of things to be said about that. Number one, the majority of the people that answer those questions, they have a gun that's in the $200 price range. It's potentially the only gun that they own. And because they think that it's a good gun or a great gun, they're going to tell you this is the gun that you should go out and buy. Now, I get it. And if you were going to create a question out of it with multiple choice answers in a Facebook post, like, "Hey, I'm looking at these 4 guns. Which is the best one for that $200 price range?" And you let it ride for a week or two, you're probably going to get the best bet that you can. But once again, I'm going to redirect everyone right back to YouTube. Go out to Pyramid Air or whoever your local gun shop is, High Pressure Pneumatics, Airgun Depot, Utah Air, and look at what they have in those price ranges. Look at what's available so that you know if you do find a gun that you want, that it is readily available. It's not always out of stock because people run into that as well. And then take those top 3 or 4 guns that you're thinking about and start watching some YouTube videos. Pay attention to the people that have tons of subscribers. That's not me yet, but you may even come across one of my videos on one of my guns. Or even if you have a question, ask. Ask in the comments below. I haven't owned every sub $200 gun, so I can only speak to the ones that I personally own, right? But by going out and doing a little bit of research yourself, spending a little bit of time understanding the gun, listening to what all these people say, you're going to make the best educated decision that you can possibly make, right? Don't rush into something. Because what will happen is you'll end up buying a gun and then you're going to find out later that, man, I should have just spent maybe another $50 and gotten this gun and I wouldn't have wanted that other gun. Save yourself some money. And also, all right, the next one is, what is it that you're looking to do with a PCP gun? And this is kind of a multiple, all these questions I'm posing to you and all these statements that I'm making really are going to go together, to blend together, to give you the best answer for what you are in particular need of. So what is it that you want to do with it? Are you looking to just pop some pop cans, throw out some bottles on the ground, blow them up, shoot some army men, do a little plinking, maybe just do some, target shooting? Because if you are, then that's a different group of guns than opposed to you want to do maybe some small game hunting. Strictly small game hunting, or do you want to do some plinking and some small game hunting, right? Legally small game hunting, then that's even a different group of guns, right? Not only that, but then you run into the different styles of guns. And those are very, very important when it comes to what exactly you're looking to do. Take, for example, this FX Wildcat. This is a very short, compact gun that is great for, it can be used for plinking, sure. It's 25 cal, it shoots about 50 foot-pounds of energy. It's better suited for hunting, right? This is my hunting and pesting gun. This gun is very lightweight, easy to hold, but It's not a bench rest gun. This is not a gun that you would want if you're looking to just do some target shooting and, you know, some plinking and things like that. It's got a lot of power. It's short. It's going to be very difficult to set onto a rest, even a bag. It's very short. It's just not that comfortable. Now, maybe if you went ahead and got the FX Wildcat Sniper, that's, you know, about yay much longer, that might be a better choice for you. The other difference is that this gun gets about 30 shots per tank fill. So when I fill up this cylinder, I get 30 shots. At the end of that 30 shots, guess what? I'm going right back to my compressor or my bottle to fill it up. The next thing that you could look into is a gun like this. This is the Benjamin Marauder. This is by far the #1 gun that I recommend to anyone who is looking to get into PCP guns. Now, I understand it's a little more expensive, but these can be had for between $450 and $550 for the unregulated version, like this. I get approximately, it's been a minute, but I'm going to say right around 60 shots out of this before I have to refill it. Between 50 and 60 shots. It's extremely accurate. It's very well versed for not only hunting, because it's not a heavy gun, but also it's great for setting on the bench and taking those, you know, long range shots. You know, I mean, I've stretched this out to 100. So, you know, I mean, it's a great gun. I honestly do not believe that there's a better gun in this price range. My opinion, you may have a different opinion, but for the $400 to $500 range, this is about as good as it gets, in my opinion. These guns can be had for a lot less used, you know, on the market. As a matter of fact, this one was actually recently offered to a new shooter in the PCP world, where I was including everything you see on it, a hand pump, as well as a bipod, for a really reasonable price. So, you know, you've got that. Now, being that we're talking PCP, and we're not talking about CO2. Being that we're talking about PCP and not CO2 or pump guns or anything else, there is an extremely wide variety of PCP guns out there. The Umarex Origin is one of them. The Avenger, you know, the Air Venturi Avenger. It's another great gun. Both those guns come with a hand pump, and they're easy to fill and work with. At least I think the Avenger comes with a hand pump. I do know that I'm giving away a Umarex Origin February 26th of 2021. So if you catch this video before then, it's very easy to get involved in the giveaway. It's free to do. Simply search through my videos. It's about 10 videos or less ago, and you're going to see the February giveaway 2021. Go ahead and watch that video, and at which time you can sign up to win that brand new Umarex Origin shipped right to your doorstep within the continental United States. I do apologize to the overseas people, but because of the restrictions on your guns and shipping that's involved, it's just too much to have to deal with. This is a US gun with US capability. So like I said, the next thing that you need to ask is, what exactly are you looking to do with it? The next part is to know what is safe for where you live and where you're going to shoot. If you live out in the country on 10 acres of land, who cares what you're shooting? You're going to be okay, because you've got the space and the land to be able to shoot, potentially, on your own property with a good backstop, and obviously that comes into play too. But I'm simply making a point that if you live in the country and you have an extended range that you can shoot at, getting into those higher calibers, the 25, the 30, the 35, the 45, the 50, that's not as big of an issue. However, if you live in the city and you've got 10 yards in your backyard to shoot at, or even 25 yards, you're going to want to be very cautious about the gun purchase that you make. Remember, When you pull the trigger and that lead leaves that barrel, you're responsible. So if you kill the neighbor's dog, the cat, or you hit one of your neighbors or their children, be prepared to deal with the consequences. So when it comes to living in an urban area, you're going to want to be a little more cautious about how much power that gun can produce. I would not want to shoot my Wildcat Compact at 55 foot-pounds of energy in a city environment. It's just not quite safe, in my opinion. So would I take my 22 caliber Benjamin Marauder? Yes. Much safer of a gun to shoot. Shooting around 24 foot-pounds, maybe a little higher. It's been a while since I've chronographed it. Not a big deal. It'll do just fine. So, with taking all of those things into consideration, now you can start to draw a conclusion on what gun is best going to fit you. I'm not going to make many more suggestions because there's just so many of them. There is a crap load of guns out there that you can pick up. But just make sure that whatever you pick up, you've done a little bit of research. Don't listen to every guy that's on Facebook or in Reddit or, even on Airgun Nation, and nothing against those guys. But there's a lot of people out there that are just trying to give you information for post count or prestige or, like I said, just want to be heard. Those are very important things to keep in mind. So please do yourself a favor, do your own research, watch the YouTube videos on the specific gun that you're looking for, and go forth, right? Go on. If this is the first time that you've ever joined us, be sure to check out my part 1 of this video series where we talk more about pellet selection, things like that, and hopefully it'll give you guys even more of an understanding of PCP 101. The last thing that I want to talk about is pellet cost and why it matters. 177 and 22, the general pellet count in a tin of pellets is 500. If you're someone like me who shoots FX pellets and JSB pellets, you're going to find that roughly 500 pellets in 177 or 22 are going to cost you somewhere between $15.99 and $18.99, right? Once you get to 25 caliber, you'll notice that the price doesn't change. They're $18.99, but the count does change. Now you're only going to get approximately 350 rounds in your tin of pellets. 150 rounds can last you a little bit longer, obviously, than not having those rounds. Once you jump into the 30 cal, sometimes they go even as low as 200 count. But I believe that, and I don't own a 30 cal at this point, but I want to say that they're 150 to 200 is in their pellet packs. All right. So now you're talking about the same price and you're only getting, 150 to 200 rounds. Makes you kind of think about maybe a 22 is the right way to go because you get 500 rounds for the same price. Pellet selection is also going to matter as well because not every gun is going to shoot every pellet the same. You could almost have two of the same guns that prefer 2 separate pellets. Barrels aren't all created equally. Tuning on the guns aren't always created equally. So those days of shooting those really cheap pellets, those days are gone when you step into PCP. Number one, you want to have a better grouping, better accuracy, and most of those cheap pellets just aren't going to do it. I hear people all the time that say, well, I shoot Crosman Premiers out of my blah, blah, blah gun. Okay. Well, at 20 yards, I'm sure that they're very accurate for you. But once you get out to that 30 yards, that 35, that 40, that 50 yards, those pellets go right down the tubes. Hear me now, believe me later. This could be a very good point of debate, and I'm sure that somebody down below is going to say, Moose, you're full of crap. I shoot Crosman Premiers at 100 yards, and I've got, you know, a half-inch group. Throw it up on YouTube, man. There's a lot of us that like to see that. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but I am saying that you have a better chance of hitting the broadside of a barn with a Tic Tac at 50 yards. My opinion. So just be cautious about everything that's going to be involved in what you're trying to get involved in. Now, if you're like me, you have multiple guns. You spend a lot of money on these things, and you know, you're not afraid to go out and buy the next best thing. But for the majority of people out there, 1 or maybe 2 PCPs is all that you can afford. And I'm not knocking you if that is what you can afford, because I'll tell you what, I'd be just as happy like that as I am with owning all the guns that I do. I own all the guns that I do because this is what I enjoy doing. I enjoy doing videos, you know, work on YouTube. And so I need to have different guns to be able to try out stuff. But if all you can afford is 1 gun, let's just say it's tax season, because it is. And you find that, you know what, I've got a $200, a $300, a $400, a $500 budget. Whatever your budget is, do your research. Don't just run out and go, oh, that gun looks cool. Because looks are secondary to functionality. That's a true statement. Think about that. I have lots of guns that look really cool. But do they all perform well enough to say that, you know, that's the gun that I can use to do everything? Not most of them. Not most of them. I have 1 gun that could pretty much cover everything, but I paid a lot of money for it. So just keep those things in mind. And I have a feeling there's probably going to be a part 3 of this video series, because I already have a few things in my mind, but I haven't had enough time to really contemplate what I wanted to say about them. So I'll probably bring it later on. But until next time, I'm Moose. This is Airguns of Michigan. And I really hope that, honestly, everybody took a little bit out of this video and said, you know, slow down, pump the brakes, think about this. Don't just ask on a forum. Watch the YouTube videos. Watch the guys that are shooting these things. If you think that you're going to be shooting 50 yards, look for the gun that you want to buy shooting 50 yards. And then look at what those people are producing group-wise. Make sure that it's exactly what you need before you go and spend that hard-earned money on a gun that once you buy, you're probably going to be stuck with. It's kind of hard to get rid of PCP guns. I mean, yes, you can sell them on eBay and things like that. But, you know, just like everywhere else, gun sales, it's kind of a dying breed now. People are really uptight about this stuff. So just be prepared to be stuck with something if, for in fact, you made a bad decision. Or you find out later on that, you know what, maybe PCPs and air guns isn't really my thing. Till next time, I'm Moose. Take care.